Meanwhile, in Venezuela, we're seeing a situation where Maduro has clinched the election win there by what the people think is a completely fraudulent election. Now, why do they think that? And this is some of the clips that I've found online on X. Once again, X is the place where you can find the information up to date. And Elon Musk is retweeting so many things. He is so onto it. I'm actually really impressed, and I've seen his evolution. Go follow me on X at Jammal. You can see a lot of these things that I just retweet without any comment, and you can get a really good feed every day. Turn the notifications off because there's way too many posts. It'll keep you up at night. But this is a sort of post that we're seeing. When the election was completed, the ballot boxes were actually being confiscated by essentially what appears to be his henchmen. And this is one of the videos that we saw on that. Yeah, I'll just go back. And on top, to make matters worse, thanks, Stephen, for sending me this. This is from Sydney Watson. She says, Maduro has had the Venezuelan opposition's party national coordinator arrested. I'm so sad for the Venezuelan people. And this is what that looked like. So the Venezuelan people, they essentially, they've had enough. They really are sick of what they're seeing with regards to their country going up in flames. And they've actually been protesting in a massive fashion. This is another video of them actually toppling one of Maduro's statues there as well. Again, these people have nothing. These people have nothing. They really are in a difficult situation. And the police, I couldn't find the actual clip where I found it, but in a police headquarters, the police were actually taking off their uniforms and handing in their guns because they don't want to enforce anymore what he is doing. Now look, I don't speak Venezuelan, okay? I can't be your guide on this particular topic. This is just stuff that I'm seeing raw and unfiltered. But we do not want to go there. This is not where we want to go, where we have a situation where the governing party of the day is actually confiscating the ballots. Do any of you guys speak Venezuelan? And do you have any do you have any insights with regards to this?
Look, I mean, the reason many people think that this particular election of or supposed re-election of Nicolas Maduro is fraudulent is because he declared himself the winner before even showing any of the returns. And I'm not even too sure if he's shown any of the returns yet. He claims he won around about 66% of the vote. But election watchdogs all around the world are saying it all looks very dodgy. And in fact, they said the same thing when he was re-elected in 2018. Dozens of countries around the world refused to recognize that election, and many election watchdogs around the world said it wasn't a fair election. Venezuela's problems go back, decades, even generations. When earlier in the 20th century they discovered that they had the world's largest supply of crude oil, they made the big mistake, especially under Hugo Chavez, who came into power in 1998. They made the big mistake of basically making crude oil basically their whole economy reliant on crude oil. And the problem is that when oil prices were really high, like with the OPEC oil crisis in 1973, 1974, they were making a mint and they could fund incredible social services for everyone. But when oil prices started to go down, they hadn't diversified their economy and the country started to tank, which is exactly what has happened. The monthly wage, a month's wage in Venezuela nowadays is about $3.50 American. So their currency is more or less worthless. And in true socialist communist style, both Chavez and then after he died, Nicolas Maduro took over in 2013, and Maduro, they had a habit of imprisoning and prosecuting all of their political opponents, not unlike what has happened recently with the Democrats and Donald Trump. So it's become a basket case through really bad economic decisions, and there doesn't seem to be any obvious way out of it. What is going to happen now in Venezuela? I don't know if anyone knows, but Maduro has promised that he's going to have a sort of what he calls a great national dialogue with Venezuelans. And so what may actually just wind up happening is that he somehow consolidates power, and Venezuela kind of chugs on. Maybe he gives them a few concessions. And if that doesn't happen and there is some kind of revolution, it's difficult to know how that will turn out. Will other countries intervene to try to stabilize things? It's very, very hard to tell, but it is a big, fat mess.
Yeah. Well, I'll just say that there was returns. They did show them, but if you people were very angry at the returns they saw on their TV sets, because if you added up the total percentage, it was 109%. So that's how people are saying, yeah, are we rigged or what? You know, like, And I'll just see the videos that have been coming out everywhere, like halfway through the day, for example, lines down the street, locking the doors to the voting booth. Voting booth's closed. And it's not like they can just get in their car, go to another one. It's because they're a communist third world country, they're stuck. No train service, no bus service. They can't go anywhere, so they can't vote. And that's all those type of tactics that they use. And we've seen it before. We've seen this for years in many of the South American countries. And you have to ask the question, is the reason why we're seeing a regime being controlled in Venezuela is because other nations who have a significant amount of oil want to make sure that they don't produce more oil? Because if Venezuela just started going, yeah, no, OPEC, we're just going to churn out the oil, we don't care, every single oil nation is going to suffer. And you're talking big nations like Russia, big nations like Saudi Arabia. So oil is a thing that's really, it dictates a lot of power in the world. It's one of the most sought after commodities. So that would have a big effect on it. But you feel for the Venezuelan people. I mean, there's situations where they were breaking into the zoo, like because the zoo had been abandoned, and they were killing and eating the zoo animals because they don't have any food. This is the kind of realities that have happened over the years that we've seen of this communist dictatorship. And we see the people suffer. But this is not just Venezuela. It's happened in a lot of other South American countries and Central America throughout the last 50-odd years.
Yeah, I think Venezuela, only 40, 50 years ago, they were ranked like 16th in the economic, and number one in South America in the economic policy index. But to make